with
Joel, yeah!
Woo, Joel! Now this is our Metro Last Light review on PS3, which I played and I thoroughly loved. I gave it a 9 out of 10 and a gold award.
Big old gold award.
Big old gold, yeah. I mean, it's for reasons we'll come to later on. I didn't think it was quite a 10, but I still thought it was an exceptional bit of gameplay. Yeah, this is in the tunnels. It's set, so the story is set in the Russian underground, post-apocalyptic. After a nuclear war, everyone lives underground, which is why it's called Metro. You live in the Metro system.
I thought it was because you read that free paper load.
Yeah, just rolled it around. You play a guy called Artyom. You are a character from the book that the game is based on. This is a sequel to a non-PS3 game where you are now kind of a bit of a hero because you've done stuff in the last game. You wiped out the last ones, the dark ones. Sorry. So you've made a bit of a name for yourself. The game picks up where you are sent out to kill one of the last dark ones. They find a survivor. And so you set off, and that sets a whole sequence of events on. One of the things I thought was a little bit messy was the story, because it does kind of tumble between different kind of threads.
Does it matter if you haven't played the first one?
No.
It wasn't even on PS3.
No,
I haven't, but I do want to play this one.
What I thought was quite interesting was that the backstory is done in such a way that if you haven't no idea what the last games were, then you have no idea that it's a backstory. You just wake up, you're a guy in a metro, you get sent out on a mission, and then the game begins. We're going to see some of the stealth stuff here. This is a lot of what the early game is about, where you are hunting. You go into a base, and the linear kind of corridors open up a little bit.
Dark, innit?
It's very dark, yeah.
I noticed it had kill and knock out when you went up behind that guy. What would be the benefit of not killing him?
As far as I can tell, peace of mind.
Exactly,
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I started killing everyone straight away because there's a slight hint of the road to this, where basically people are out for themselves. They're very nasty, and I had no moral qualms whatsoever with just knifing a guy in the back of the neck, because they're all sort of horrible people. So yes,
what happened there?
I accidentally hit melee.
Oh right, I thought you'd like throw.
No, I was just stabbing the box.
So this is like a sort of Far Cry-esque base attack,
yeah,
but with a more dark and stealthy bent.
Yeah, it plays a lot like that. It's not as fast, so you have to it's all about kind of creating dark areas. So wherever there's light, there's a little blue patch on his watch, on the inside of his wrist that lights up when you are visible, a bit like sort of Thief, that sort of thing. But it's about finding dark areas, finding people that have wandered away from the pack that you can then go and take out. So you have to sort of spend a little time watching. There's no kind of like vision modes, but you are, as long as a little blue light doesn't come on, you're invisible. It's nice and sturdy like that.
Okay.
But so you find these patterns. Guards will separate and walk away. So this guy is about to get it.
Wouldn't do that, mate.
So yeah, you get these beautiful little trumpet flares whenever. When anyone looks at you, the trumpet flares up, and if you don't get out of the way in time, it turns into music in your scene. But after a while, you start to fear that trumpet. It goes off, and you immediately duck, and you're looking around trying to work out what's going on.
The weapons all look quite hodgepodge.
The weapons are sort of brilliant. I was kind of annoyed you couldn't carry more than 3. I also have no idea how a silencer works on a revolver, seeing as it's not a sealed system. But I mean, I played all the way through with silenced weapons because it's about kind of like taking people out quietly. Silenced revolver was excellent for shooting out light bulbs. Obviously, you can blow things out as well, and you can unscrew light bulbs. There's something quite satisfying about.
Can you pee on the fire to put it out?
No, fire unfortunately
really
can't. There wasn't a button.
No
for that.
Fire urination. -1 score modifier.
But there's something really satisfying about. I think we'll see in a minute when I go and take this guy out. You can unscrew light bulbs, a little squeaky noise, and so you sort of. You make the darkness your friend, and you expand it to there you go, a little trumpet flare there, and you expand it to improve your area, your hunting ground, if you like.
Did you try and knock someone out?
Oh yeah, knocked a few.
Does it take longer? Could that be the trade-off?
It takes a little longer. You do like a little strangle, but there doesn't seem to be any benefit to it.
No, it's just nice to not be murderous, I suppose.
Yeah,
for some people. Maybe.
But this does make quite a kind of a mercenary. Well, it has quite a mercenary feel to it, and basically nobody likes you outside of the metro stations.
Who are you killing? Because these don't look like dark ones; they just look like men.
No, well, there's lots of different factions. So there's there's a hardcore communist faction. There's a Nazi faction. You're in
being back at school.
Yeah. But there's a kind of an uneasy truce, if you like, between the stations, and the different factions have kind of brokered a peace deal.
No wonder it's uneasy if you're killing everyone. Jeez.
Well, you know, they
Not doing anything for inter-metro relations, Leon.
They don't endear themselves to you very early on, because you get kidnapped and wake up in a prison, and you know they're just killing prisoners. It's that classic kind of abuse sort of footage, you know, where a guy walks in, asks a question, shoots someone in the head, asks someone else a question, shoots someone in the head. He's not doing it because he has to, he's doing it because he just enjoys it.
Do they notice that it's going dark?
They don't. They'll react to a light if you shoot it out. If a light goes out, like just you unscrew it or blow it out, they don't really notice so much, but they will react to noise, to bodies.
They don't go, oh, it's a bit suddenly gone dark.
No, I mean,
if
I shot that light out while he's under,
but that would be
he'd notice straight away. One thing that is really good is
the noise as much as anything.
Yeah, but they don't. If a light is out when they come back to an area, they don't necessarily immediately cotton onto something.
Okay.
But the AI is really good where they'll notice bodies, they'll be aware that you're there, but they won't immediately, as in a lot of games, you know, just suddenly point at you and go, there he is. They'll hunt in the direction of where the body was, so you can even be seen and then duck out of sight, loop round behind them, and they'll still continue where you're going.
Did that really well.
Yeah, so you can really sort of play with people. And
so there's no actual HUD stealth indicator. It's just that you're visible, and then you get a little noise.
Yeah, so you get the HUD is beautifully done, like in terms of minimalism. Well,
there isn't one, is there? Really?
Well, exactly. I mean, we'll see a little later on. There's a kind of a twin radial thing you can draw up, and it shows you all your gas mask, your lights, your equipment. There's a little charger you have to keep your batteries going with.
Go on, kill him. Yeah, you go.
Yeah, that's the end of him. But yeah, they keep the immersion is sort of, you know, high throughout. And
can you move bodies?
No. No, that's the one kind of thing I was surprised you couldn't do.
Yeah.
And you do see, like, there are kind of fairly stealth, kind of predictably stealth things. Like these guys originally, when you see them, they talk for a little while, and then they go their separate ways and stare at the wall.
Yeah, that guy was properly staring at that wall. He knows how to stare at a wall.
Yeah, they practice it. You see it a lot. They have a conversation. You think, oh, how am I going to deal with these two guys? And then they go in different directions, and they'll look at something.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like sort of advanced AI in that sense, but I guess as long as you know the rules and they're solid and they work and they're consistent, you can kind of live with it and you can enjoy it for what it is.
I mean, that's the thing that it does do brilliantly, is that you're never in any sort of doubt as to what is going to happen in a given situation. Like, so that even without the HUD, the trumpet flares let you know exactly what's going on. They talk, so you can hear if they know where you are or if they know something's wrong. You can sort of hear the difference.
Are you completely invisible if that little blue light is on? So
well,
you could even be like...
Watch this then and see what happens.
Oh, he had a little hat light.
Yeah, so it's you can see the game mechanics within it, but there's enough of a sort of an element of realism.
Yeah.
That, you know, it doesn't break the game, but it also doesn't make it.
Gaming's fine as long as it works and you know how it works.
Yeah. So that's that area cleared, as well as sort of people. We're coming up to a little while in a minute. So, no, there's one guy left.
Yeah.
There's
just Captain Shadow over there. It's his little hanging cloth face.
I mean, this is where it's quite a stern test. It's not like a detective mode, or you can quite easily miss people. You can wander around a base for ages, suddenly turn a corner, and there's a guy there that you didn't know was around.
What happens if it does all go tits up? Can you shoot your way out?
Yeah,
or you die?
It turns into a really good shooter. I mean, we'll see some shooting here. We're with a guy called Pavel. I escaped from the Nazi camp with him, and we're about to fight some monsters, these weird spider monsters. But the shooting's great. So if you do screw up the stealth and it goes loud, that's just as good fun.
Jeez, that's good.
Yeah, these things are horrible. They can't be hurt until you shine lights on them, so you have to like bear down on them with a torch, and you can see them burning under the torchlight, and as soon as they go red, then you can shoot them. But we'll see later on, it does lots of really good stuff with scares and the monsters, and we'll see here, the shooting is fine, the really sort of satisfying, the guns are lovely, that was a HUD, so your batteries run out, so you have to keep charging it, so every now and then you have to get this thing out and pump it to keep all your gear working. Yeah, but this gun's called the Bastard because it's prone to jam and block up, but only if you hold the trigger down for ages.
What happens when it jams?
You just basically sort of bash it until it works again. It happened once in the entire game, but the one time it did, you're like, oh, that's why it's got a name. Yeah, so they're little mini spiders. The guns you can adapt. You can see here I've got a silencer on it. I've got a night vision sight.
And do you do that just in menus, or are there like benches?
No, you go to shops.
Or,
You go to shops and you outfit them. I mean, I use mainly silenced weapons all the time because there was so much kind of stealth. You can add stocks to improve the accuracy. I think my three favourite weapons. I had a silenced shotgun with like a rotary drum magazine. I used the
silent shotgun.
Yeah, oh, it's amazing. And I used a revolver with a silencer on, and I equipped that with a sight and a stock, and basically turned it into like a little mini carbine. And there's pneumatic weapons as well. So there's like these like air guns that fire ball bearings and sort of harpoons, and you have to sort of pump those up to charge them. Everything I fired I liked, and I kind of wished I could carry more stuff.
Quite like this, they can only be killed under lightning, because it stops you just sort of pedalling backwards and shooting like an idiot.
This stuff works really well. We'll see some of the other monsters later on.
Go on, have a little pump.
The mechanics, so this is lovely, you know, you have to chase them down, shoot them when they're weak. It's a really kind of nice feel. There's a lot of changing dynamics, so every sort of new section there's new combat. Outside, as we'll see later on, general monster combat is a little bit messy because they just sort of rush at you, and so you're just backpedaling and shooting. This stuff works really well, and you're having to creep through. You have to use a lighter. If you don't use your lighter to clear the cobwebs, then you move more slowly through them.
Okay.
So that's quite a nice sort of mechanic, and it sets up a really nice kind of brooding atmosphere very early on, where it's dark. You know, these things keep popping out. You're poking into these abandoned kind of areas that still have kind of signs of life. You find kind of bodies, people that didn't make it any further than you did at that point.
Right.
So you're pulling like magazines and air filters off.
This is weird, but I've never seen someone in a game bridge a gap by doing that. No? I don't think. I've never seen someone pole vault. It was quite nice.
As soon as he did it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make perfect sense, but I don't think I've ever seen someone do it before.
No, well, it's full of lovely little touches like that, where it is, on the one hand, you think, oh, it's just a shooter, but the stealth, the mechanics fighting some of the monsters, lots of little things work really well, and you just go, oh, it's a nice touch.
But you know, people always swing across or boost each other across. It's just nice to have something, just shows a bit more thought, to have something slightly different.
I think there's a kind of an earthy, kind of Russian sort of realism to all of it. I think that the character of the book sort of pervades throughout. Yeah. So this is the vehicle we get. So the tunnels are still open. You travel between stations. We get given this vehicle at one point to get from A to B. You could, if you wanted to, just floor it and just go straight through to the end. But as you'll see in a minute, there's you see little doors and little things, and you want to sort of poke and investigate. So this could be a 2-minute sequence, just drive to the end. But you see things and you want to find out what it is and what's going on. There's a lot of really good kind of. Oh, this is a bit later on. Sorry. Yeah. So this is you get attacked as well. We should see wiping the mask in a minute. Maybe you have to wear a gas mask and you have to manually clean
Oh, really?
It's lovely, yeah, because you'll be fighting and you go, why can't I see? And then you go, oh yeah. Just
why do you do that?
You just tap L2.
Okay.
So if you hold down L2, it brings up your menu.
Right.
If you tap it, it just cleans your mask.
That's nice.
Yeah, it all works, considering how much stuff there is. You've got a mask, you've got a filter, you've got a pump to charge your battery, you've got a pump to charge your pneumatic weapons. But it all falls under your fingers really, really well.
So there's sort of survivally mechanisms as much as there are shooter mechanisms in terms of keeping yourself like stocked with power and stuff like that.
It does feel quite survivally. We'll see. We're about to go outside now. So you have to wear a gas mask outside. So that's one of the things you have to keep on top of. Is you get about 5 or 6 minutes sort of clean air with a filter. So you always have to ensure you've got enough filters, and so you're scavenging those off of bodies. Your alarm on your watch bleeps, and you have to change out your filter if you run out. This is outside. Again, there's a lot more kind of a mix of environmental storytelling. The monster combat out here is not as good as the enemy combat, because we'll see in a minute, they just run straight at you, and it's not as satisfying as it could be.
How much time do you spend outside, percentage-wise, would you say?
I'd say almost kind of. Not quite half and half, maybe.
That's more than I expected, actually.
Yeah, it's almost half and half. But you get sort of drawn into sections, so you can sometimes you can be outside, but you're in buildings.
Right.
There's you end up in an apartment area later on, and you're poking through basically like a Russian council estate. So you're inside, but you're outside.
I guess it would get quite oppressive if you're in dark tunnels for like 10 hours. That might get a little bit.
Yeah, and it does switch it up really well. Like I was amazed at the end when I got to the end and I looked back at all the chapter headings, and I realised sort of how much I'd been through and sort of how much I'd seen and the differences I'd gone through. That's quite.
You were changed as a man by the end of it.
Yeah, you do feel like you've gone through a journey. There is an element of kind of like you say, change and
That's good. And how long would you say that journey lasted for you?
it was a good 12-ish hours, and I was to some extent. I mean, I played it over a weekend pretty solidly. I think it probably would have lasted longer if I hadn't been trying to play it for review and get through to the end. So there's your little baby spider monster there. You see these sort of cobwebs. If you don't sort of burn them out of the way, they slow you down. Not enough, but enough to make you think maybe I will get the lighter out.
Just annoying, yeah.
Yeah. And this is what I mean about it's linear, but you want to poke into areas and find things, because you see something and you go, what's down here? And well, let's find out what's down here. Grab some filters there.
I quite like that. I quite like the sort of. Oh God! That is quite a beast.
Yeah, these things are horrible.
I would say I quite like the sort of low-fi weaponry, but
yeah. Well, this is all scavenged. Like anything that is good quality is money. Your money is pre-war bullets.
Right.
And the bullets you use are like scrappy, horrible kind of badly made things. So you can use pre-war bullets because they're more powerful, but they're also they're your currency. So you don't want to waste them.
That's good. Yeah.
You do. I mean, in a pinch, you can go, well, I need to spend these bullets by firing them. But I managed. I don't think I ever fired a single actual bullet. Even things like I've just noticed the way the magazine's set up, the fact that you can see the bullets. It's all done so that there's no information is all sort of presented in a very naturalistic kind of way. So the game kind of language never kind of breaks the immersion.
Yeah, I love it when they find ways to put a HUD on the screen without actually putting a HUD on the screen. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's beautifully done. Like you can play for ages and not see anything on the screen apart from your crosshairs.
You okay, Chuvak? You're all covered with blood.
Yeah, I think that really helps. Remember one game that did it, although it wasn't quite as seamless, was the old King Kong game on PS2. Didn't have a HUD, and you had to tap the D-pad to find out how many bullets you had. And he would just say, he's like, 2 bullets on backup.
I did. Yeah, I love that.
That was a really good game actually, but that was one game that I remember not having a HUD.
Yeah. And I don't think I've seen one that...
It's rare, it's really rare.
Well, I think because it is difficult to do, and I think this uses its very kind of unique world and gameplay to lever the kind of the HUD-free idea to its full advantage. Like I say, you've got the watch, you've got... The HUD does pop up when you need it, like if you reload or you take damage, so when you need it, it's there.
Yeah.
When you don't need it, it's gone. So the first half of the game is basically sort of you're wandering around outside, you're in tunnels, you're doing a lot of stealth sections. As the game develops, it takes on a slightly more kind of supernatural kind of element, which we're about to see a bit of here. In the book, it's sort of explained that the people who died in the war are in this kind of atomized purgatory, that somehow the dying in a nuclear war somehow prevented them from passing on.
I see.
That's not mentioned in the game, but you essentially find these kind of echoes of the past, and we'll see some stuff here now.
Lose your head in here. You understand me? Okay, let's go. One ranger told me this was a flight from Mallorca. Family is returning from vacation, you know? You know, Artyom, I've never been to the sea, or even on a plane myself. Well, wasn't meant to be. Chuck, are you seeing this shit too? Artyom, what is this?
I can tell you that's gonna happen.
Look, they're alive!
The cut before the bad thing. So this supernatural stuff basically progressively gets kind of worse as the game goes on, and it's very kind of almost Silent Hill in places, and it plays with your expectations where you're not sure if you saw something, and it continues to do it in such a way where by the sort of midway through the game, you genuinely don't know if you saw something or whether the game did flash something up. And I was talking to Matthew Pellett, who's reviewed it for Games Master, and we found different things. Like sometimes you'll trigger a different thing depending on where you go. So he found some stuff that I didn't find, and there was a couple of things neither of us could confirm if they actually happened
that's always
or not.
Nice.
Yeah, it's beautifully done. And this is the what I think is kind of the weakest point, is when you go outside and you face the kind of mutated wildlife. This is the silent shotgun, by the way, which is my favourite thing. The creatures just kind of rush at you, and it's not particularly satisfying to play, partly because you've had this sort of great stealth experience hunting and playing with these kind of soldiers in bases, and they react and they kind of behave in a believable way. These things basically just come at you.
Right.
And it's very old school, quite Doom. You just kind of circle strafing and trying to get out of the way.
I think we've all probably had enough of that these days.
So yeah, I mean, the surface was my least kind of favourite bit, but it's still, it looks lovely when you're not being attacked. It's nice to explore, and you see the buildings and planes, and you find these kind of bodies, and you almost got to make up stories in your own head. You find a guy and he's got some equipment, you wonder what he was doing out there.
I really do like how every gun shows you how many bullets are left without just saying it. It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean, I know this is the second game in the series, but you can tell a lot of thought has gone into things like that, how to visually represent things, how to stop you being pulled out of the moment.
Yeah, and I guess for a lot of people, they won't have played the first one because it was it wasn't available on PlayStation, so a lot of people will be coming to all of these things fresh, which is kind of nice, I guess.
And it's even things like the little red flags. If generally you've got, I don't think you've seen it, you've got like a little notepad that you bring up. So your objectives are written on a notepad, and there's a compass like in the top corner of it. So when you do need to know where to go, you pull up this notepad, and the little compass shows you the direction to walk in. It tells you what you're meant to be doing. But in places like this, you do get those little red flags. You do get little pointers here and there, and they feel like that should be the way you
sort of left them there or something. Yeah.
Those things generally
glitchy there.
Those things generally are a bit of a pain in the ass because they've got these big claw shields. Yeah, so you have to get behind them, but they always turn around a bit too quick, so they're annoying to fight. And
what sort of plot-wise, what are we doing? Because you say you start off going to find the last of the...
Again, the plot is...
Spoiler-free, but like...
Spoiler-free,
it must develop from there.
So yeah, you're sent out to kill... Someone says they've seen a Dark One, and you supposedly killed them all in the last game, so you're sent out to find this last one. Dark One, the last Dark One, and get rid of him and finish the job. He escapes, you get captured by the Nazis, and then you fall into a sort of
the actual Nazis.
Well, the Metro equivalent, the Russian kind of neo-Nazi kind of faction in the underground. You escape with Pavel, the guy we saw earlier, and then it just progresses. You just fall into one thing after another. I don't want to spoil too much, but events transpire, and that leads you towards the end of the game, and it does kind of lose its shit occasionally. It does do some weird stuff, and there's moments in the plot where you're just like, this is ridiculous, but overall, moment to moment, it works and it's really enjoyable. Like stuff like this, you sort of tend to forget when this is happening, and you're surprises like this land in your lap. You forget that maybe the thing the last guy said was a bit stupid.
Yeah, sure.
And you always sort of know where you're going at any one point. So that's a little notepad just there. You always know where you're meant to be getting to, and that is what becomes the overriding kind of point.
Does it have are there side missions or just anything like that?
There are. I mean, you can sort of... There's not really like you go to a man and get some side missions. You can just sort of push off into little areas where you might just do a bit of scavenging, or you might want to go and check out a room, but there's not really... You only really have one mission at a time. There's like little bits you can do here and there if you want. You might just see a building, and it never says go and have a look in the building, or go and see what's in this tunnel. Sometimes you just see some things and you go and investigate. Like with the car we saw earlier, you drive along and you see doors as you go past, and you don't have to get off and check them out, but it's up to you really how much you want to get out of any given area.
Am I being harsh, or is it slightly underwhelming graphically?
Outside's not so great. I think probably our capturing capture equipment is letting it down a bit here. I thought it looked lovely when I was playing it at home.
Because I was expecting it to look great, and it doesn't look bad or anything, but I sort of had higher expectations.
I don't think the monsters do it much justice, because obviously they're not a very human anatomy. It's not been sort of mocapped or done very well. When you're underground and you're dealing with people, there's bits of it where it does look lovely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think outside is its kind of weakest area in many respects.
Yeah, the colour palette's a bit weird. Like it's all a bit kind of muted. It doesn't look lush. As I know it's post-apocalypse, but you still see some post-apocalypses which look pretty.
I think the idea with Metro is it's not meant to be that kind of lush, beautiful apocalypse. This is dry, burnt, scummy.
The Russian brutalist apocalypse. Yeah, fair enough. Oh dear.
Yeah, these things are a pain in the ass. I managed to kill one, but they're really hard to kill, and they have an annoying habit, which we'll see in a minute, of picking you up.
That's quite cool.
Yeah. It's the first time you happen to go, oh, that's really good, and then a little while later, when it's happened 4 times in one sequence, and it's killed you twice, you're like,
yeah, that would get quite annoying. It's regenerating health, is it?
You've got.
Appears to be.
Yeah, it's like it's a touch. I mean, you've got like kind of health packs. I think generally I very rarely used a health pack. I think you have to sort of get hurt quite a lot in one go to die.
Right. Okay.
As a rule, you just sort of healed over time. Yeah, I shouldn't have stopped to watch what that was.
I was just really lazily thwacking at you with this big.
It sort of fell down from the ceiling. Yeah. I was like, I wonder what that is. Oh, it's gonna kill me.
Probably bad, whatever it is.
Everything basically wants to kill you.
Yeah. His gloves are weird. It makes him look like he's got robot hands.
Well, I think it's all, you're in like kind of hazmat suits, aren't you? Like you have to wear masks, you have to wear gloves. The outside is so toxic that it's basically death to go up there. Very few people risk it. Obviously, you are one of those kind of brave idiots that go, yeah, fine, I'll go and have a look. So yeah, there's the little compass there in your notepad,
and it's the lighter in the left hand. Isn't it?
Yeah. So the lighter. If you press R1, you bring up the notepad and you'll sort of see what your objectives are. If you hold L1, you'll bring up the lighter.
How do you shoot then?
Well, it's triggers and bumpers. So.
But hang on, I thought I'm confused now.
Sorry, I think it's L2 is. I forgot which way around it is. Basically,
one or the other.
Yeah, you got precision aim and shoot on one set of triggers, and then your notepad and your stuff on the other one.
But then, what about the menus? The radial menus?
You hold down.
Oh, you hold down.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there you go. So that's me checking that.
Right.
See, I almost feel like the demons almost got it right, where they make it dangerous to be outside. Like they make it dangerous to sort of hang around too much. So I'm trying to work out where I'm meant to be going and how I can avoid exposing myself to that thing. But then they ruin it where the monsters will just on the ground will just come at you. So instead of like hiding and feeling vulnerable and working out how to get from A to B, they will just come at you.
Right.
So they push you outside. The demons pick you up and throw you around, and then they come and find you where you land and rush at you again.
Sure.
It never feels particularly good fun. This is that's my automatic pistol I had that I beefed up to basically a carbine rifle.
Those are like improv grenades, are they?
Well, everything is improv.
Sort of Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, Molotov cocktails. They're pipe bombs. Nothing is like modern or nice. It's all made out of scraps. I mean, if you read the books, they live off mushrooms and pigs, and they're all forgetting how to read, and it's all kind of progressing, degrading back into a kind of a primal state.
Right.
Back inside, yeah.
It does look nicer inside, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lovely atmosphere, and it does a lot of really good kind of ambient environmental storytelling. You wander around and you hear people talking all the time. You sort of hear like some people having little breakdowns.
Madman with a sandwich board.
Well, this is what's left of the Bolshoi Ballet, and all the sort of the actors live here,
okay.
Which we'll see that in a little while later. But yeah, there's chatting, there's conversations. Sometimes people are crying and being rubbed on the shoulder, and children being entertained, food being cooked, boxes of mushrooms being prepared. You know, you
There's so
can,
many mushrooms.
well, that's the only thing that can grow underground.
Oh yeah, I suppose so.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Why? What happened?
Mitya didn't make it.
Show something real.
They were heading back. A demon appeared. We all hit the ground and shot at the demon.
You're an octopus.
Yeah, just like the real thing.
No one suffered the scratch.
I was half expecting like Abraham Lincoln to come out next.
His mask, it had cracked
That's
open on a brick.
swings like this when taking off.
It reminded me a little bit of there's some bits in Resistance 3 where you know, you're in these bases and the dregs of humanity are like scraping out of existence. It's got that feel where
Well, that whole world's gone to hell kind of
yeah,
feels.
there's part of you is kind of like why even bother continuing? Why what are you trying to save?
There's children now.
There's some. I mean, some of this stuff is beautifully done. Like there's in one of the caves when you poke out later on. There's a little skeleton family and the baby's hugging the mother and the father's trying to hug them both, and they're just like bones and shirts and like scorched fabric, and you find something like that and you're like, oh, it's really heartbreaking.
And he was everywhere. Even the light.
I forget what happened to her. She got some really bad news.
I don't believe
I think one of their friends has just died.
My dad is a pilot. He'll give me 100.
But amongst it, you sort of find these kind of little splashes of light and these kind of weird moments where they're trying to make a future of sorts. I think I'm about to go and buy some guns in a minute, but we'll see. Like you'll see some of the theatres and things later on where, you know, some parts of life continue almost in a kind of crazy way. Like they've gone mad, so let's just carry on living. Pretend nothing's happened. So we'll have a theatre, we'll have a ballet.
Sure. But you gotta have a ballet.
So yeah, when you go up to buy stuff, it's your bullets or your
Oh, he
your
looks
money.
scary.
Yeah. You have throwing knives, so like obviously stealth kills, and pipe bombs. Incendiary weapons are quite handy to fight against people, not so much against animals.
Surely make your enemy work up a sweat. Look, I got money for 3 days. So drinks are on me.
And obviously buy post-war, slightly
Buy
cruddier.
some steel balls.
Well, that's for you.
Just in case you get scared.
Well, one of the guns fires ball bearings. It's in the pneumatic weapons are really interesting because they're silent, and you have to pump them up. So you can over pump them as well. So you can, and the needle like quivers in the red, and that will stay for a little while, unless you buy an upgrade that always keeps it like that. And that basically gives you a few more powerful shots before the air pressure runs out.
That's nice.
And I like the pneumatic guns, but the problem with them is you can be in the middle of a battle, and then suddenly they go, and you're like, oh, I've run out, and you don't want to be in the middle of a full-on fight, pumping at this kind of piston to charge your guns up. But there's one that fires like harpoons, like little steel bolts, and it's brilliant as long as you don't sort of, you know, get into trouble, and then you need to start pumping it up. If you stay on top of the stealth, it's a great thing to have. So you can buy different things and put a stock on it that helps your aim, keeps the gun from lifting up when you fire. So I think most of my weapons, I had a stock, I had a silencer, and then depending on what I was using it for, I had like a laser sight or a reflex sight.
How many guns are there?
There's a harpoon gun, there's a ball bearing gun, there's a bastard, there's an assault rifle, there's a couple of different kinds of pistols, there's a couple of sort of sniper rifles. There's about sort of 10, 12, probably more guns. But you do, very early on, you find your favourites and you go, that's my gun. Like, I love the revolver. I had the revolver with the IR, like an infrared sight and a silencer on, and that was my kind of, my sort of trouble solver for like thinning out areas and, you know, just sorting out sort of early kind of forays into enemy bases.
Leather. Best leather goods. Original designs. No prices. Shrooms. Great shrooms. Can't find better stuff anywhere. This is great stuff. The best you'll
Yeah,
find.
for a lot of people, the way the story's set up in the book, and not maybe made so clear in the game, is that a lot of people don't leave the metro. This is their life now. They live underground. They never go outside. Artyom is one of the few people that do push out past certain boundaries. So you have like a 500-meter boundary. That's as far as most people go because
People queuing for the underground strip club, are they?
yes. Well, this is the theatre basically, and I think this is when you've gone here with Pavel, and he's sort of vouched for you. So
Don't
you
jump
can,
the queue, Leon.
Well,
Come
no,
on.
you can. You're a hero. But these people, you know, they continue as if this was life now. This is life for them.
Yes, it is.
And that occasionally means, you know, night at the theatre, and there's Pavel.
We seen on the revenge at the platform hiding from his wife. Come on, we'll make us. I just can't hit a woman.
Hey, you, stop! Show me your tickets!
Hey, who's
Sure. Come in.
Well, Stanislavski, you can watch the show if you like. I'll wait for you at the dressing rooms.
The spaces are quite small. They do a very good job of making it feel like alive, and it's always very well populated.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of NPCs kicking
Yeah.
around, and they all look.
Yeah,
At first glance, they all look different.
you don't see that same guy.
Yeah.
You do if you look
I'm sure
hard
you
enough,
do, but like they've done it quite well. I'm not noticing the same
Yeah.
person over and over again.
And obviously dancing girls. That's another thing I would criticise. Is it is slightly
Slightly booby.
slightly booby. Yeah, I mean you can see the.
There's
the
quite
sort
a lot of jiggle physics.
Yeah,
there.
exactly, yeah, and,
I mean, almost an impossible amount.
There was a few points where I was kind of going, well, yeah, it's fine. You know, it's an almost primitive civilization now that mankind has regressed. You can understand there being kind of sex workers and then maybe a sort of a change in attitude to sort of gender equality. But there are also a couple of bits where you go, no, they just like boobs.
Right, okay.
There's sequences where you go, this is only here so they can show.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, it's not. I've seen worse, I'll be honest, but it's the one kind of weak area where it sort of fits. Yeah, where it fits in the narrative, it works really nicely. Occasionally, you just kind of like you just need gratuitous now.
Fair enough. But I mean, overall, you obviously really like the game.
Yeah, it's excellent. Plot's a bit dodgy. Fighting monsters outside is a little bit unsatisfying, but the stealth, the atmosphere, the story is brilliant. Like I say, I gave it 9 out of 10. Gold award. I think it's one of the best shooters of this year so far.
Excellent.
Your boyfriend buy you something better. Her boyfriend is cheap, that's why.
No, he's reliable.